Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first ever PigTalk episode that will be hosted here from the Nampo Expo. We are live here from the PIC stand in the PIC hall, and we are not only talking to our online listeners, we are also talking to everyone passing us, and that's standing actually behind the camera, which can also hear and look and listen to what we have to say on the PigTalk in this episode. So my guest today is none other than Maurits de Villiers. Welcome, Maurits.
Thank you, Margaret.
Maurits is part of the technical services team of PIC Africa. And something special about Maurits is that he's got a very deep understanding of the financial impact and the economics of a piggery. So that brings us to the topic of today, that will be, what is the financial impact of FMD, foot and mouth disease, and ASF, African swine fever. So Maurits, going over to you. If you got ASF on your farm, what now? What's next?
Margaret, yeah, it's a terrible time for every producer, and the first thing that you need to do is, when you've got suspicion that you have ASF on your farm, is to notify the state veterinarians, your private veterinarians, and stop all marketing, all movement of animals. You are not allowed to do any marketing. Thereafter, you also need to inform your neighbors. You are legally required to inform your neighbors that you have African swine fever. And yeah, then it's a matter of the state veterinarians coming out. They will do some blood tests. After the blood test, they will also require all your records of any animal movements for the past 30 days. So it's a terrible time for the producer. Start thinking of it now. You need to make a decision on when do you need to start culling those animals, because you need to cull the animals, and you need to do it humanely. You also need to make decisions on where you're gonna dispose of the dead carcasses, which is a terrible time for every producer. I think it's an extremely emotional time, because for most of our farmers, it's an emotional thing. It's a family business, and all your income is immediately stopped there and there, and you still need to feed those animals while that is happening. So it's got a very serious effect. Do all the necessary legal required stuff from the state veterinarian immediately, and then thereafter it's recognizing the financial impact going forward.
So from a farmer's perspective, let's say you have 1,000 sows, you slaughter about 500 pigs per week, and now suddenly you have nothing. You have to cull out all your animals. Now, talking about the financial impact, how big is this financial impact of suddenly losing all your animals?
It is absolutely devastating, because remember now, your weekly income suddenly stops immediately.
Yeah.
You are also culling animals on your farm that about 60% of your sows will be in the most productive stage of their lifetime. You are feeding pigs up until culling, where you're not going to get income from. So it's absolutely devastating. You need to consider now, am I going to restock? And for most farmers, that is extremely difficult, because it's a entry barrier for all pig farmers to start a piggery. Is that first year after stocking, before you do your first marketing, that you're going to get some income in. So from my point of view, it's got a devastating effect on your piggery for at least a year.
Sure, yeah, that's actually going on to my next question. If you lose now all your animals, how long will it take for you to be back in business again, to get income again?
That's all considering the age of when your genetic supplier will be able to supply you with some gilts. Let's say, for instance, you get them on 24 weeks of age. You normally mate your animals on 30 to 31 weeks of age. So that in itself is already 6 weeks. Then it's 17 weeks pregnant, lactating period. Thereafter, you need to wait another 22 weeks before marketing. So more or less, it will take about 45 to 47 weeks until your first marketing
So that's
week
basically a
is
year.
happening.
Yeah.
And consider the time that it takes cleaning before that, uh, uh, bringing in sentinels, which is biosensors. Um, and you normally need to keep these sentinels for at least 30 to 40 days
Sure.
in your unit. So it's definitely going to take more than 1 year
Yeah.
before you
Sure.
can do any marketing.
Sure, that is a significant impact. For our audience also listening, we are going over now to FMD. And at the end of this interview, I'm going to ask Maurits a few fire questions, also to hear another side of him outside of the piggery. Going over to FMD, Maurits, so if you have FMD on your farm, what now?
Basically, that's exactly the same thing that you need to do with ASF. You need to notify the state veterinarians, your private veterinarian. You also need to notify your neighbors. You need to stop all marketing. I will say put a lock on all your gates because no animal can enter or leave the premises. You are immediately placed under quarantine. Thereafter, it's the basically getting to day 0, 2 weeks after the last clinical signs. That is considered day 0, and also the last vaccination date if you are doing vaccinations on your farm. That is considered day 0.
So with ASF, you have to cull out all your pigs and you lose basically everything. With FMD, you are going under a quarantine process and you can slaughter your animals after your quarantine and everything is cleared. So what is the time frame between when the outbreak is on the farm and until you can get new income should you have FMD on the farm?
It varies, and I've seen it now on practically. It varies on different farms. Some farms actually it took them 8 weeks before they could start their actual marketing. Some of them even longer. So, like I said, you need to get to day 0 where there's no clinical signs on the farm of FMD in your herd, and then the state veterinarian needs to declare your unit that you
Clean,
can
okay.
market. You need to market those pigs at FMD approved abattoirs, which is not as easy for the abattoirs because they can only slaughter FMD animals.
Yeah. So that's there you can hear what is the time frame. It's about sometimes up to 8 or even longer weeks where a farmer cannot slaughter, but you still have the animals. Now, Maurits, that leads me into my next question. There's obviously some hidden costs, some costs that you didn't expect or didn't budget for, and now you sit with these animals that you can't slaughter. What is more or less the different things that add to hidden costs should you have FMD?
First of all, you still need to feed the animals, and 70% of your total cost on a pig farm is feeding cost. So you still need to feed those animals up until the point where you can start marketing them. The thing is, you are keeping those animals. Now, I'm going to say it like in Afrikaans, it's a piggery is like a wars machine. There's pigs coming in all the time,
Yeah.
and you're going to need to move your animals to a place within that quarantine area where you can keep those animals. Now, you're going to need to get more water sources. You're going to need to get more feeder buckets. This is a huge investment on its own already. And you still need to pay salaries and wages. You still need to pay electricity. So all your fixed costs remains the same. But that is part of the cost. And then later on, when you all start doing your marketing, you are not getting the full carcass value because you are losing the feet and the head. they cut it off. So it means your killing out percentage is just going lower.
Yeah.
So you're getting less money for that same pig. It is devastating.
I think you will definitely think different about farmers in FMD, suddenly having to pay wages, feed for animals that you didn't account for, equipment and making housing for them because they can't slaughter them. It's all part of hidden costs. So that was it for ASF and FMD, the financial impact. We are going to move over now to the six fire questions that we have for Maurits. Maurits, early mornings or late nights for you?
Definitely early mornings.
Coffee first or talk to people first?
I need coffee before I deal with people.
Sounds good to me. Then take advice or trust your gut?
With age, I trust my gut.
That sounds wise. What motivation or what gives you motivation?
For me, it's transferring knowledge. I had the privilege of people spending time on learning me how to work in the pork industry, and I'm forever thankful for that. So I'm trying to transfer all that knowledge, and that's keeping me motivated.
Oh, that's a good one. What is a common myth about our industry, the pig industry?
A lot of people think that pigs are dirty animals. They are not. The moment you see a dirty pig, something is wrong. The environment is not, they are not in a happy place. So, pigs are not dirty animals. They just want to know where they sleep, where they're going to eat, and where they're going to do their toilet things.
Yeah. What advice do you have for our audience?
For me, it's spend your money on biosecurity.
Yeah.
I mean, the devastating effects economically, not just for you as a farmer, but further up in the value chain is devastating, because come to think about it, you've got somebody that needs to deliver feed. That company is not going to deliver feed anymore. Looking at the abattoirs, they are looking for numbers every week. They've got a market for those pigs, and now suddenly they don't receive those pigs anymore. And the same with the processing plants. So for me, is how much money should you spend on biosecurity? It's like asking me how long is a piece of string. Make sure that you are protecting your livestock that's on your farm, and making sure that you follow all biosecurity procedures. PIC have the BioSealed, and we've got people in South Africa like Samantha van der Westhuizen that is driving our biosecurity for our farmers in South Africa.
And it's got the industry impact. The entire industry is influenced by it. Thank you, Maurits. That was then the interview with Maurits de Villiers. Now, if you watched up until this point, please comment in the comment section, savings. Remember to like and subscribe our YouTube channel so that you stay updated with all our talks about pigs.